Let's see how shiny Dan Bongino looks today. You want to take some bets? This is kind of just like the how normal is Rudy Giuliani going to look question, where I can't really answer because I've already seen the thumbnail, so I know how shiny he's going to look. So we'll just ask you, like, how many lumens do you think Dan Bongino is going to be in this video? If you want, I can give you a hint. Because you might think, well, has he gotten his shiny problem under control? So my hint will be no, he has not gotten his shiny problem under control. So he will definitely be a level of shiny. This is not like a trick question, like, oh, he's gonna be like powdered down, like powdered wig, powdered face, blah blah blah. We can take some time to guess how shiny Dan Bongino is going to be while I explain the context of this video. So this is the Sean Hannity show. And Dan Bongino, you know, is the former deputy director of the FBI. He's doing some of these appearances to drum up excitement for his return to the podcast space, which I do not believe has happened yet. He's going back to the Dan Bongino show on Rumble. As part of his redemption tour, or I guess his preview for the relaunch of his podcast, he's trying to, you know, minimize his role in the Epstein cover-up. Because let's be clear, that's the most visible thing he had a role in as part of the FBI. Now, we can't say what he was doing behind the scenes. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with his work behind the scenes, the level of like actual work there was to do, and it wasn't just like a fake job. But as people who were observing from the outside, the most prominent position he or role he played was going on to various shows and going like Epstein killed himself. There is no pedophile ring. There is no collusion. And so his tour prior to coming back his podcast is trying to minimize that as well. We have any guesses for how shiny he's going to be? 100 candle power. Okay. 450 lumens. Okay. Brighter than the sun. Like a 10,000 watt bulb and a dimmer switch. He's going to get brighter as he goes. Lol. Over 9,000. 40K. 10,000. Okay. You're going to be surprised. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by how shiny he is, because you're all joking, but like I've seen the thumbnail, so it's pretty funny. Unless the thumbnail is misrepresenting it, which I can't necessarily speak to. So let's find out. Let's find out together how shiny Dan Bongino is today. This is Fox News. This is the Sean Hannity show. Dan Bongino, I'm tired of these idiots. I wonder who the idiots are going to be. Do you think it's going to be people asking questions about Epstein? I think it will be.
All right, here is amazing news. There were 20% fewer murders in our country last year than there were the year before. And according to Axios, we saw the fewest overall number of killings, pay attention, nationwide since the year 1900.
That's good.
The media wants all of you to believe none of this happened or it happened magically, but they're leaving out the true story and the facts, because it's not just murders. The FBI has been hard at work fighting all sorts of crime. It's amazing when you abandon, defund, dismantle, no bail, and reimagine the police.
Mario, thank you for the 199 super chat. 10,000 lumens. We're getting to it. You're going to see it. You're going to see it real soon. I promise. It's going to surprise you.
And go back to law and order. They are getting real-time results, making you more safe and secure. In fact, the Bureau doubled the number of violent criminals that they arrested in 2025. The number of overall arrests increased by a whopping 197% from last year in 2025. It saved 6,000 children from being crime victims. They arrested 300 human traffickers. They seized 2,000 kilos.
This is all to distract from what I was saying, though, which is that, like, even if all this is true, crime is down in the United States of America. The only reason people don't feel like crime is down in the United States of America is because of Fox News, Republicans, and local news, like, constantly drumming up fear because it sells ad space, ultimately, for them. It gets them the attention that they want. So we know crime is down. I don't think he's saying this for no reason. The reasons he's saying this is A, to make Trump look better than he actually is. Like, he's actually doing something, especially with his like shock and awe tactics happening at the same time. And B, to like make it seem like Dan Bongino has something to do with all of this. And that, like I said, the main thing he didn't do at the FBI was cover up the Epstein files, which is the main thing he did at the FBI.
Of fentanyl, enough to put all of us to our final resting spot. It arrested 5 of their top 10 wanted fugitives. Now listen to this. That is more in 1 year off that list in a single year than Biden got in 4 years. All of this in
because they're on the
year
Trump administration
because
now.
of leadership at the FBI, and of course, including President Trump and his nominees, Kash Patel, and until recently, Deputy Director Dan Bongino, who has now returned to civilian life. Now, tonight, we are glad to announce that
podcasters aren't
Dan and
civilians.
his podcast, The Dan Bongino Show, is officially returning on Monday, February the 2nd. We're proud to welcome him back.
Whoa!
The first television interview since leaving the Bureau. Former Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino. Great to have you. I want people to know something. You told me privately when you did go in that you were likely there for 1 year just to try and get things on track, and then you did not have a desire to stay there a long time. I want people to know that.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to come in there. I figured it was going to take about a year.
No, like he's not wet. I think that's what's impressive about how shiny he is. Like he just like shines. He glistens without needing to be like visibly moist.
To reorganize, get some accountability back, get the refocus from what they were doing.
Get some accountability back, bro. What? We gotta. I think like a lot of you, I was distracted by how shiny he is, so I missed kind of part of the question because he's glistening, baby. Go ahead, mommy.
Former Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino. Great to have you. I want people to know something. You told me privately when you did go in that you were likely there for 1 year just to try and get things on track, and then you did not have a desire to stay there a long time. I want people to know
Cope.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to come in there. I figured it was going to take about a year to reorganize, get some accountability back, get the refocus from what they were doing. I say when I get in there were 2 FBIs, Sean. There was one that had been fully weaponized and trained to focus on all the wrong things. Then you had the other guys, the door kickers, the guys who were out there breaking up violent gangs, chasing terrorists. The thing was finding who was part of what group. So, we had to find, investigate, and then take action on a lot of this. That wasn't easy. I mean, no one comes forward and admits, hey, I was part of the weaponized prior regime. But once we got everything refocused,
yeah, it's hard for them to come forward to say that.
To go forth and just get these bad guys off the street. It was go time. And when you combine that with this focus on securing the border, it shouldn't be a surprise to the American people that the violent crime rate just fell to. I saw the murder rate is the lowest it's been since 1900. It's unprecedented. I mean, by definition, there's no modern precedent for that. And we did this. It was not complicated, Sean. Kash and I figured out very early on broken windows policing. If it could work in New York City with Rudy Giuliani, it could work nationally. Long story short, about 70 to 80% of violent street crime is committed by 0.5% of the population. You go and get these dirtbags and these mutts off the street, these pieces of garbage. You use UFAP warrants, Vickers, RICO crime.
UFAP warrants? So like they're going after gooners? Wow. The FBI, he said it was done being weaponized, but now they're going after gooners with UFAP warrants. Now, you have to forgive me, but I don't think that it's not in all cases is it the FBI's job to go after like violent street level criminals. Oftentimes that's the role of local police departments or other forms of state or officials. The FBI is involved in stuff like that, but the predominant reason that crime is falling around the country is not because of like the FBI, especially under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino getting extra kinetic and stopping it from being weaponized against like Trump administration officials. It's for the same reason it was going down before that stuff. There was an alleviation of poverty caused by like the pandemic relief measures. I don't know if crime is going up like since those things have come out, but yeah, like there have been various initiatives taken, especially in Democrat-run urban centers to reduce crime, whether that's like, decriminalizing drugs, whether it's providing more resources for people who are addicted or poor. Those have an impact, and some places actually take that seriously. The Republicans don't, but they want to take responsibility for it because, again, it distracts from like the big crimes that people are asking about. Like, no one's looking to the deputy director of FBI to answer questions about like street level thugs. No offense, right? Like, I'm not looking to the director of the FBI to answer questions about like if he's getting like muggers off the street, if he's getting like, people who are looking to purse snatch an old lady. Sure, okay, I'm glad that's not happening, but like I want to know about the big crimes. I want to know about the international child trafficking rings that the president might belong to. But of course, this is all racialized. When he does that thing where it's like, oh, like, these violent thugs, like all the crime is committed by 0.5% of the population. Like, this is not a sheriff, bro. This is the deputy director, the shiny deputy director of the FBI. I want to hear about the big crime.
You go and get these dirtbags and these mutts off the street, these pieces of garbage. You use UFAP warrants, Vickers, RICO crime, gang statutes, any federal statute we could dig up. Trust me, we used it. We were very creative with how we use this stuff. We got those agents out there rolling, and they were more than happy to go do it. When they picked these guys off the street, you know what? A lot of you don't know murderers out there. You don't, because there's not that many. So when you pick them off the street, that's what happened. And the president was all about it from day one.
Look, we saw the fewest overall number of killings nationwide since 1900. You got 5 out of the top 10 most wanted. That's more than Biden got in 4 years. The number of overall arrests increasing by a whopping 197%. And all the media ever does is attack Cash and you and the DOJ. That sounds like,
why?
That's
why are they doing that? Why are they attacking them? What specifically are the media and their critics saying? Why are they attacking them? What are the main criticisms? It's funny to abstract it. Like, oh, they're always attacking you. They're always saying that you're like not doing the right thing. Like, what specifically are people upset about?
In an ex post, you've got scores to settle when you get back on the air. I kind of like Dan Bongino out of a suit and very real and keeping it real like you always do. It sounds like you mean business. Want to give us a little preview?
Yeah, I mean, these media people, they're like a full diaper all the time. I mean,
and he knows a lot about that.
My daughter just turned 14, so it's been about 13 years since I changed any diapers. But that's the media.
I thought he was putting his daughter on blast. So he was like, yeah, my daughter just turned 14 and she's still in diapers. I was like, whoa, like that might be something that you don't want to share on like the air right now. But, if we're being honest, he knows a lot more recently about full diapers, though, because he was the deputy director of the FBI under Donald Trump. And we all know Donald Trump is all diped up half the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we all know that he is.
Some of the story here, let me give you a perfect example. If this doesn't make you laugh, this was just today. Perfect timing. I didn't even intend to talk about this. Axios, obviously left leaning. Axios has this headline about the homicide rate being the lowest since the 1900s. I was like, wow, okay. I start reading down the article like, well, there's 1,000 excuses as to why President Trump and his administration didn't do it. Meanwhile, I lived it. I know what we did and didn't do for these dumbasses, right? Same day, about an hour later, I see a New York Times headline. Kash Patel's FBI has made America less safe. Do you dipwads even read your own headlines? Are you that stupid? These are these media morons. People who've never spent a day wearing a badge, never kicked in a door, never arrested some child predator or some...
Never redacted Donald Trump's name out of thousands of pages of Epstein-related files. They don't know what it's like to be a real law enforcement officer in the Trump administration. You're right, Dan Bongino. They don't know what it's like to shine like you crazy diamond.
Bank robber, some gang member. These morons don't know anything about the safety status of the country. The border's sealed. The military's never been stronger under Pete Hegseth. And the FBI went out and just arrested a historic number of animals off the street, and the murder rate plunged. This isn't hard to figure out. But the same day, murder rate's all-time low. The country's less safe. Do these people even hear themselves? They are a big, full diaper. I'm tired of these idiots. Think about where we are right now in the country. If you listen.
I mean, I get he's doing a lot of the typical fascist dog whistling about animals and criminals and like racializing it and stuff like that. And it is very upsetting. But I guess for me, what's tempering my, I guess, desire to like even go at him about this is not just how manic and shiny he is that I know what's waiting for Dan Bongino, and you know what's waiting for Dan Bongino too back on Rumble. Like, they're going to eat Dan Bongino alive. There's nothing that makes people in media happier, especially in like the toxic media space of the right wing or even just political commentary, than someone who's really big, who is obviously compromised now. And it doesn't even have to be politics even. Like, there are so many channels that like love taking snipes at bigger channel. Wait, and nothing wrong with that. Obviously, sometimes it's really important to do stuff like that. I'm just saying that even if he didn't do something wrong, there would be incentive for people to be taking snipes at him. And now that he's actively very, very compromised in something that already, like Epstein, I mean, does like gangbusters numbers amongst the conspiracy-addled minds, it's hard to get all worked up about like all of the trash he's talking because, you know, once the show's back on, it's going to be Jover for Dan Bongino, right? Like, he's going to be spiraling week after week, crashing out week after week because his mentions are going to be filled. I bet the mentions here are filled with like, this guy covered up Epstein. Where are the files? Where are the files? I don't care about the, you know, purse snatchers. I don't care about, you know, whatever. I want to hear the files. So spit your game, talk your shit, man. Like, it's you have 2 more weeks. You got 2 more weeks of this, of like getting yourself hyped up, and then like in a week later he's gonna be crying about it because we know this cycle. You can see it. You don't need to be Nostradamus to see what's in his future. You don't need to be looking into the crystal ball that is his shiny glimmering dome to be able to see his future. You can see it already.
Listen to the media. You would think the last year was Armageddon. Almost 0 illegal border crossings. Inflation's now relatively contained. GDP growth is projected to hit 5, potentially 6. The trade deficit's falling down. The murder rate's at an all-time low. Violent crimes at a near all-time low. I mean, what freaking country are these morons living? I mean, what are they looking at? Are they missing this stuff? These are not small items. That isn't even, I haven't even gotten to Maduro being out of power. The Cubans are now, Cuban leadership's crapping their pants.
Dan,
we may acquire.
He's really into this diaper stuff. I made a joke about it at the beginning because it seemed weird. It seemed like it came out of nowhere, but they're always saying stuff like this, like, you're cramming stuff down my throat, like I'm all diped up. But this is like the 3rd or 4th time he's mentioned like pooping his pants or wearing a diaper. He does look like a diaper fetishist. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because like some of you will be diaper fetishists out there, just statistically speaking, and you'll feel inclined to comment like, we don't claim him. And I know you don't claim him. I know no one wants to claim Dan Bongino at this point, right? We don't even know what race he's supposed to be. Like But yeah, no, like he's constantly talking about like pooping. Think he's gonna mention it again before like the interview's over? I think he's gonna mention it again.
Greenland.
Because I interviewed you one. No,
you are.
I interviewed you one time when you were deputy FBI director. You're in a suit.
Yeah, I gotta be.
And
yeah.
I'm not on the air now, Sean. I can't really tell you. I think that. Well, the real Dan Bongino's back, and I understand in that position you have to be the deputy FBI director, but you're not that person anymore, are you?
No, I mean, listen, when I made this comment on your show, and again, the morons in the media were apparently unaware that I was paid for a political commentary show. This was news to them, Sean.
That was the Sean Hannity show. So if you recall, when he was the deputy director of the FBI, he was going back on all of the things related to Epstein that he had said on his podcast. Oh, I know for a fact. I'm paraphrasing him, so don't like quote me on this specifically, but you can paraphrase me on it, obviously. All the things he said about knowing for a fact that Epstein didn't kill himself, or being very certain about like there being this international, all the conspiracy theories that he was spreading on his Rumble show about Epstein files. And then on this particular Sean Hannity interview, like back when he was still deputy director of the FBI, and he was giving his like Epstein killed himself like speaking tour, Sean Hannity asked him about that discrepancy, and he was like, well, yeah, but I'll say whatever, I'll say whatever sells. I'll say whatever generates hits, which we knew already, but certainly doesn't engender any sense of like real, I guess, confidence in his opinion as like a truth teller, right? But we know that right wingers say stuff like this all the time, but it will just be another thing that like the truth tellers on Rumble who are going to be coming for his crown are going to hammer him with, like, but you're a liar. You said you're a liar. You say you're only in this for money.
Oh my gosh, Dan Bongino was paid as a and me and you were laughing about this the next day. We're like, this is how stupid this was a big scandal in the media. Dan Bongino was paid to be a political commentator. And then I said, when you're at the FBI working for the administration, Sean, listen, you're very close with the people, and it's not about you. It's not about you. I didn't get elected president. Donald Trump did. And I am there.
So I
to
had
serve
to
the
cover up the
administration and
Epstein
the
files
taxpayers.
because he's in
End of
them.
Story. I'm not there to give my opinions on him. I don't know why this was hard for, again, these full diaper media morons.
They're playing him off. Oh, he said it. Okay, my poly market bet went through. Like, he said diaper one more time. They're playing him off though. They're playing him off because he sucks.
Again, these full diaper media morons to understand. When you're paid to do a job for the taxpayer, you serve the taxpayer. When you're paid to do a political commentary show,
he's crashing out. He's already crashing out, and he hasn't even gotten the criticism yet.
Is this difficult?
Well, we haven't seen it.
I never got a better laugh out of a hit.
Oh,
I did on the
he's
media.
not mad. He's
but
laughing.
I told you the next day. I had to be careful. I don't want to.
Stop talking.
I don't say too
We got to get out of here.
We
got to bump you, bro.
We've been friends for a long time. I kind of like the real Dan being back, unfiltered. We ought to say Dan Bongino, unfiltered.
He seems so natural.
That should be the new title of your new podcast. But we appreciate you.
Yeah, he's like water. Dan Bongino is like water. He's unfiltered and sparkling, right? Yeah, he's not mad at all. You can tell how not mad he is. He's going to continue to be not mad once his show comes back.
I hope you'll come on regularly.
You've been a good friend. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job, and Cash is doing a great job, and Pam is doing a great job, and you guys don't get credit for what you do, and it's a thankless task, and the media is corrupt and abusively biased. So thank you for being with us. I think I'm going to be listening into that first show. Hey, Sean Hannity here.
I am too, Sean. We can listen to it together if you want. I think it's going to be really illuminating. Okay.